Okay, so good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Barrister David Sinadejun. I'm a lawyer to Mountain of Fire Miracle Ministries worldwide. I'm also personal lawyer to Dr Olukoya, the General Vice of Mountain of Fire Miracle Ministries. You recall sometimes in August last year, I think August 2nd, I actually did a video which I titled "Why is Ayotunde Richard and Funke Ashekun plus others plotting the death of Dr Olukoya and yet, coming to social media to play victims card?" I explained, all that has been transpiring, how they've been, putting so many lies out there, basically to defame, the person of Dr. Olukoya on various and different sorts of, allegations that cannot be substantiated. And also in that video, try to explain, the rules of everyone in that conspiracy, starting from the lady in UK, who has been slammed, with £100,000 after about 3-4 years of, churning out many lies, currently now being declared bankrupt because of an inability to pay the £100,000, down to the popular bloggers here in Nigeria who, again, for personal vendetta, against MFM and the person of Dr. Olukoya, will use his platform to spread everything bad and negative about MFM. Then one in the US now, Funke Ashekun, who currently is now using the Ayotunde Richard. So I gave as little I could to just make our members, our pastors, and anyone who cares to all these things they are saying about Dr. Olukoya, to what extent can they be true? And I said nothing about that is true. And for me, again, after that video, I felt there is no reason, because I said in that video, that's not who we are. Number one, we're a church, to minister and preach the good news of Christ. Number two, personally as a lawyer, we will analyze things and take decision, where we need to. And I remember ending to say we will take action based on those series of defaming, posts done by Ayotunde Richard and all his likes, and that we have done. So this, more like, maybe if you call it part 2, is to further give updates on how far, and more importantly, to now diffuse, all the lies again. From that August last year, a lot of those who have been trying to listen to the everyday blogging from Funke Ashekun and, what Ayotunde Richard has been putting out, his friends, wife, his lawyers, against nothing but an attack on the person of Dr. Olukoya and MFM. I will still have no other way to put it, that it's nothing but, an orchestrated, plot, just to ensure that, we want to get this mission fulfilled. But it's actually a mission that is doomed to fail. And that is why, for the past about 5 years now, that they've been on this mission about they want to drag, Dr. Olukoya down or MFM down. They have not succeeded. They cannot succeed, because rather than for them to even have any scintilla of success, they were meeting their Waterloo at every point. The one who, for more than 4 years kept saying, I have video of this, I have evidence of that, Olukoya this, MFM that. And you know what is funny about them? They will say, we are just trying to keep some of this evidence, so we don't want to say it out. But if you try nonsense, if you go to court, if you involve this, if you involve that, we will show the court. The lady was sued. I said, come to court, at least. What again? So for anybody who is actually intelligent, like, if you have any little, very small sense like this, you listen to somebody who keeps saying, this man is a thief, this man is a thief, I have evidence that he's a thief, he's a thief, he's a thief, he's a thief. And if you are not careful, I will bring out the evidence. The person now sue you that you are defaming me, you are spoiling my name. What other chance, what other opportunity do you have to show the whole other evidence that is a thief? And so you pass through the process of going to court, and you are going to be slammed with punishment, maybe jail term, and you still couldn't bring out the evidence you have been shouting for years that you have to support all you have been claiming that the fellow is. Is that not shameful? And not just only shameful to the person who is going about lying, it's also shameful to those listening and even for any reason believing, because I don't know how to fathom it. Yeah, I don't know. But again, this video is actually to address very few issues, because over the time people are also been disturbing me. Lawyer David, what's going on, blah blah blah. Majority of the members, past and minister, particularly with respect to they said Dr Olukoya has detained Richard and asked police not to release him. Funke now said that, oh, when they release him, Dr Olukoya asked them to return him back to prison. Haba. Is Dr Olukoya the the Minister of Interior that is in charge of prison or correctional service in Nigeria, that can just sit down in his office or wherever and then give order to the prison warder, no, don't release? You know, that's quite funny. And excuse me, coming to actually make this clarification is actually, you know, for me, I was compelled again when I read yesterday from the Post, you know, and the statement credited to the lawyer of Ayotunde Richard, barrister, you know, Ogunlana, saying all this Luther Ayotunde Richard was released after 73 days from detention because of issue he has with Dr. Olukoya and all of that. That's quite unfortunate, you know. People used to say lawyers are liars, and for me, I always feel slighted when people throw those, phrase, and to spite us. But sometimes when you see the way, our colleagues in the profession will go to media and start saying things to mislead the public, as in literally saying the opposite of the exact fact, just because they want to win cheap points. You ask yourself, so when will exactly be an end to how professional lawyers would descend so low that allow for public to just come to this conclusion that lawyers are liars? When are we going to actually operate as honorable, as we call ourselves, as noble as we call ourselves, that a lawyer will come to the public because you want to impress some section of the public? You now need to turn the fact upside down, just to win your own narrative. It's quite sad. It's sad because the case that involve Ayotunde Richard, and Dr. Olukoya, has to do with the petition I filed, which in furtherance to the video I did last said that for everything, Ayotunde Richard has been chunking out in terms of all the kind of name calling and all of that. These are things that are forbidden in our criminal laws. You can't do those things and you don't face the consequences, except the fellow feel to decide to just overlook it. And let me also tell you guys that as far as Dr. Olukoya is concerned, he's really not bothered. But some of us taking it upon ourselves, because Dr. Olukoya, assuming he's the one in the picture alone, maybe assuming he's not married, assuming he has no child, maybe we just have to play along with him, like, well, he really doesn't care. Because he's somebody who, from the beginning of his ministerial life, he really doesn't want to be known. His focus has been do the work. You will not find, even for the new generation or whereby you can no longer hide from the picture or from the camera rather. Olukoya is somebody that go and get any of his books. He has them in numbers. You will not find his picture on his book. Any signboard of MFM in terms of promoting any program MFM wants to do, particularly from the headquarters where he directly oversees, like Palm was changed hand, crossover service, the billboard, you will not find the picture of Dr. Olukoya as a marketing, like, oh, this is the face of the man behind the ministry. It's just of reason that there is nothing you can do again. But let's just tell you that this is somebody who really don't have time for fame, for people to notice me, they come and know who I am. It's different. It's not. So for him, he really will not bother. He doesn't, because when MFM started, a lot of antagonism within the body of Christ, outside the body of Christ, everywhere, because everything seems to be quite strange. So he's not new to all this kind of attack. The reason why most of our members are concerned about that is because there is now a social media age where any little things is spread so fast and wide. He's been having all these attacks. Yes, right from the beginning of the creation of MFM. People have been launching attacks. And so if God has sustained him and sustained the ministry against all the attacks for over 30 to 35 years, so this one will also come and go. That's a fact. But here is the reason why some of us have decided that we will not let this slide. And what's that reason? Dr. Olukoya has a son. Dr. Olukoya has a young man, a biological son that is growing up. And for those of us who understand mental health very well, you see, we are in a generation where awareness for mental health is actually growing. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people will just, will hurt you. And when they hurt you, by the time you are trying to respond back to their attack in equal proportion of how they hurt you, they are the one that will be shouting mental health, victimization, mental health. Okay, so you, Ayotunde Richard, Funke Ashekun, Adesina Ogunlana, and the likes of you that have decided to start, over the years now, shunking things. Dr. Olukoya is this, is that. You are calling pedophile. You are saying he's molesting a member. You keep shunking some of those things, and you have lawyers coming out to defend that. So he's fighting for his fundamental rights. He's defending his rights. It's because he's being victimized, and all of those toxic content are out there on the social media. Do you guys think that his son, among his colleagues, his friends and peers growing up, they don't have access to social media too? So have you guys sat yourself down and decide to ask, so what happens if one day my son comes from school and say, Daddy, I found this on the internet where they said you are a rapist? As in, how many of us can stand it that your son is actually going about with those material, and with the the rate at which you guys are pumping out all those lies just because you want to fulfill the mission of whoever is sponsoring you to bring the ministry of Olukoya down? You guys did not factor into your wicked mission that this man has a son who also has a mental health to be protected. Because it would have been a nice thing that everything you guys are saying are true, and then he will have no choice now to be explaining to his son that, well, I'm sorry, this happened, that happened. But you guys keep saying, he did this, he did that. You are not bringing evidence. But the more you kept saying it, people tend to want to believe. Because one thing about lies is this: once lies keep spreading repeatedly, or is being repeated frequently, and there is no any attempt to denounce it, people tend to generally say it's true. It might actually be true, regardless of how highly respected and highly placed you are in terms of your status in society. And so let it be on record that some of us who are children of Dr. Olukoya, boldly, with confidence, I know it's not just only me. I don't want to go into how I've become the son to Dr. Olukoya, as an adopted son and as adopted father, beyond the father in the Lord. But I can tell you that there are thousands of us, daughters and sons, who are made, who God has, through the impact created by Dr. Olukoya, established us in our various fields. But we cannot let this slide, because that child will grow up, and at the time he grows up and somebody is going to make reference to, oh, this was being said about your dad, there will be response that, no, this and this are the steps taken to counter all those lies. And that's the only reason why we have to go to court at this point in time. And that's just the truth, because so for every lies that Maureen has thrown out there, the record of the UK court has it that we brought her before UK court, and there were practically begging her, can you just tell this court all of these things you have been saying, can you just establish before this court? And she couldn't. And so tomorrow, if anybody is going to be mischievous to say, oh, we had, they said something against your dad or against Dr. Olukoya, we simply have to just bring the record of the court. Well, this is it. We actually took her to court to come and prove and establish, at least that's best to go. So for those of you saying, are they not church? Why are they going to court? I beg, they are church. And why are they going to court? And yet you are not going to have problem to respond to those who are spreading lies. No, why you guys spreading lies? You guys will be enjoying all the lies and be waiting. Could it be true? Could not be true? Then the best way we feel we are going to respond is not for us to be exchanging, gutter language on social media against some hungry bloggers who wants to use Dr. Olukoya to cash traction, get a lot of viewership so that they can get whatever they want to get from YouTube, social media money that they are to survive their life. We are not going to reduce ourselves to that. You must go to court and prove, because we want to have a record for future sake, and particularly, like I said, to protect the mental health of the young man who is a biological son of Dr. Olukoya. And I'm bringing this to the public for guys to understand that it's easy to compare Jesus Christ with these men of God. And should be they say they are followers of Christ. It's Jesus Christ is God. Jesus Christ is God. Jesus Christ came in human flesh. He came, is a God that came to die. Dr. Olukoya is not God. None of the Jews, none of them is a God. They are human beings. They got married. Jesus Christ is not married. They have children. Jesus Christ has no biological child anywhere. So even at that, Jesus Christ not even let everything slide in his days. He still read the Bible very well. He still have to respond to some things physically to correct certain things. And you're talking about going to law courts. Jesus Christ have to be dragged before a Pilate to defend himself. And so what are we talking about? So today now you find out Tunisia said that he's dragging Dr. Olukoya and myself before the courts to go and sue for. He actually started it. We didn't go to court. He started it and said, well, fine. Now that you believe that after saying so much, all the lies on the social media is not enough, you feel like, and you know one thing, he thought that by running to court to come and fight fundamental rights as being advised, rightly or wrongly by his lawyer, would just, in a way, made us to fold our hand that, they are run to court to they slam 15 billion. So just continue defaming and then be using court to shield yourself and be committing all the crime as much as you can. People like us will not let that slide. We are not stupid. We know how the law operates. We know what the law says for every action. So that's just the truth. And so, if you are concerned that why would they go to court? We're sued, we respond, and because of that, we have to start take action. We have to start, to take necessary actions to also correct things, like I said before. And in response to Barrister Ogunlana, that the case of Dr. Olukoya and Richard is the reason why somebody's please let issues be properly stated. The fact should be stated the way it is. After they've gone to court to fight fundamental rights, we respond. And when we responded, we have to tell the court that these are the things that this young man is saying. Dr. Olukoya has nothing to do with the reason why he actually even ran to court to fight fundamental rights, that he was still in Alagbon. And he has said things, countless number of materials, content on social media, where he has said a number of things. Dr. Olukoya is behind this, behind my arrest, behind my detention. And at that level, we just feel like I think it's important that we take this matter up. And that is the reason why I did the question I did. After they find out their fundamental rights. And I did a short video that now you are the first to go to court. So now that the case has gone to court, now when we start with you, so don't go and start crying foul. And then on the criminal aspect of it, it was to face his charge. They kept shouting up and down, oh, they be in court, so they carry him. Who says because you fight fundamental rights action, if you commit crime, they should leave you alone? Which law says that? No law anywhere now. And so he was arraigned. After arraignment, he was granted bail. He couldn't meet the bail condition. How is Dr. Olukoya the reason for him not to be able to meet bail condition? Dr. Olukoya is not even the complainer in court. Like I said, we are in numbers. I'm saying it with all confidence and boldness. As far as I know, because Dr. Olukoya does not even need to worry himself. We are in numbers. The fact that maybe I'm the only one that is coming out to speak because of the privileged position I occupy of being his personal lawyer. Dr. Olukoya has daughters, sons who their story of grass to grace through him is beyond imagination. You don't expect those people to fold their hands and you are throwing dust and mud as someone that as God has used to make such impact in their life. Yeah. So you guys are just joking to think we are going to fold our hands and let it slide. So keep bringing it up, but we will treat you guys, in the very respectful and beautiful manner as laid down by the law, and properly, we will deal with this issue decisively the way it should be dealt with. Conclusively. So the reason why I'm actually doing this is to let people know that we have reason. We have, more important reason to respond the way we are responding. And at the same time, to also correct all the lies being shrunk out there. So, I haven't said that Dr. Olukoya has a son. And that son has rights to be protected from the mental health, torture that, in future they are trying to throw him into by virtue of this thing. If we fail, if some of us that God has used this man of God to reshape our life, to rediscover our destiny, if we fold our hands and then let some, persons, succeed in trying to throw, because they will not succeed with Dr. Olukoya. That's just a fact. They will not succeed. It's not that they will not succeed with MFM. But what if we feel like, oh, don't let us respond? In future, Dr. Olukoya will go and be with the Lord. So if Jesus tarrying is coming and the son grows up and then he's now being confronted with all of these toxic content everywhere, what will happen? What is he going to hold on to as his response? That they are lies. That's why we are responding, so that let there be instrumentality of justice system to now put everybody together. Come and prove what you are saying. Come and establish it. Failure of you should face the consequences. The one in UK, she's been declared bankrupt because she couldn't pay the £100,000 damages for the defamation against Olukoya and MFM. The one in US has been slapped with $50,000, and there are so many court cases that are still hanging on that one in US, Funke Ashekun. And that is why every day she just come and start talking and keep lying. God is helping her. We really not bother because somebody has passed through that, has tread that path before. So we are here. We know how she has ended. And she has not even ended conclusively. But let's leave that one. So the IoT literature that is being used as a pawn by Funke Ashekun, then being aided by his lawyer, misguiding him, and then every time they are doing a luta lawyer. No problem. I won't say anything because, effectively the matter is in the courts. But it's just to make the record straight that Dr. Olukoya is not behind anybody being detained. No. We complain about the fact that this whole defamation, and cyber stalking and bullying is getting out of hands. I wrote that petition on behalf of one of Dr. Olukoya's, aides, who is also like a daughter to him. We are many. If you can just be seen maybe one or two of us, but we are very, very many. Dr. Olukoya's children, we are many. So you guys can go and hire more and more. We dey here. And when we complain, police get you invited. After the investigation and the interview, they saw reason with us that yes, there are things you need to answer to in court. You were taken to court, You were arraigned, you pleaded not guilty, and they granted you bail. Meet your bail condition. You couldn't meet your bail condition. How is that Dr. Olukoya's problem? That you were granted bail since April, and you cannot meet your bail condition from April to May. Now, that's one aspect. This same Ayotunde Richard had another charge against him by another person this time around, one Mrs. Opeyemi, that was pending at the magistrate court. I don't want to go too much to that because I'm not party to all of those ones. That is purely between myself and this woman, which has to do with child abuse and all of that, threat to life and everything. And the matter was taken over by Ministry of Justice, Department of Public Prosecution, DPP, because having review and the complainant feel that the magistrate, is not the best place to, handle the, seriousness, and the severity of, the fact, that contains in our complaint. And DPP agrees. The matter went from magistrate court to high court. And so, the day he met his bail condition from the federal high court charge on the cyberbullying and cyberstalking, the defamation, that he's been doing against Dr. Olukoya, the day he met that condition, the same day he was being informed that there's another complainant at the high court who had actually also have a case against you, and there is a production warrant by that judge of that court that will be produced because they acknowledge that you are facing another charge, and then yet we still have another one to respond to. And on the strength of that production warrants from the high court judge, the prison refused to release him. That you can only be released when you are done with another matter you are having. So, how is Dr. Olukoya responsible for all the crimes you are committing and you are being charged by different persons? And so now that the consequences of your action is coming, to meet you face to face, then Funke and people are going about to say Dr. Olukoya said they should send him back. What kind of lies are these? Okay, so Dr. Olukoya was the reason why they asked him to go back. So now yesterday, when he was eventually produced before the high court, for this different charge entirely, and his lawyer now made an application, even when there is no bail application before the court, and the lawyer from DPP did not oppose to that bail application. So why did Dr. Olukoya tell the judge that don't release him? At least he was released or granted bail, even without being arraigned. So, and I know for sure that, assuming that yesterday, that bail application did not succeed, that maybe a lawyer from DPP opposed it, and on the strength of the fact that there is no file here, you have not pleaded to all the charge against you, how can I agree that you should be released? You should be remanded pending when you are going to actually bring proper bail application, and then there is a surety provided. Assuming that was the position of the lawyer from DPP, and the judge agrees, which is the correct position in law, and they ask him to go back to detention, then they will have gone out to say, oh, Dr. Olukoya said they should not release him. So Dr. Olukoya is the judge, Dr. Olukoya is the prison, Dr. Olukoya is the police, Dr. Olukoya is everything that happens to Richard. Just because you guys want to keep shouting Dr. Olukoya's name, and then you have this, this unwise blogger who believe because he has a platform to be able to fight, a vindictive fight against MFM. Everything, no matter how small it is, that is negative about MFM is the first, to break it and publish it. Just make sure it's a bad news on MFM Olukoya. You find it on his blog, first hand. I think that is journalism, or that's what vendetta is. Journalism. Let it just be on record that you guys are not fighting Dr. Olukoya. You are fighting millions of armies that God has raised through him. And I'm here as a face of one of those armies. Millions. If you guys actually think that you are going to hide in US, UK, anywhere, and some people are throwing money around you. They want to bring MFM down. They want to bring Dr. Olukoya down. You can just only try. You will continue to fail. So by the end of the day, when all the matters come out from the court, there was a court case in Ogun State, one in favor of Dr. Olukoya. There was a court case in UK, one in favor of Dr. Olukoya. There was a court case in US, one in favor of MFM and Dr. Olukoya. So the question, so if truly you guys have truth, small one like this, in anything you've been saying all this while, how come you guys have not been winning any of these court cases? But like I said, we have no choice. Dr. Olukoya has a son, and very soon people will be confronting him about, we heard this about your dad, we are doing this so that there can be a good response to say all those things are nothing but lies from the pit of hell, and these are the steps we have taken by going to court, and now the court has been able to vindicate that there is nothing. But for those who really have sense, who really want to have sense, then somebody for over 3 to 4 years have been saying, I have evidence of this, I have evidence of that, and they have not been able to produce it. Just what they call it, just throw it on the internet. There is nothing that will trend in Nigeria of today that for somebody to show an evidence that Dr. Olukoya is a thief, is a rapist, is a pedophile. I claim you have evidence. Just throw it on Instagram, on IG, on anywhere. He would, in fact, everywhere will shut down. Wait, and you guys keep saying this, and you cannot even really, for the past 5 years, 3 years, you've been repeating all of these things. And even when we now drag you guys to court, that come and prove this thing you are saying, you still have not been able to show it. Funke go to US court and now outline that. And it's not Dr. Olukoya I'm talking about. It's not MFM I'm talking about. They're who now? God. Please, guys, all members of MFM are pastors who are disturbing themselves about, hey, this guy is saying too much, Now I won't check our program. Oh. We are in court. That's why I'm restraining myself, because I can't speak to what is in court. But when the judgment is out, we'll come again and talk. I have to do this video just to also explain that way. We have no choice than to some of this decision. We need to protect the mental health of the son of Dr. Olukoya. Because there is none of us as parents, we feel proud that some things are said about us, and maybe our children, are now being confronted by their colleagues, like they say your daddy is this, and none of us will feel okay. It's not really about us, but how would that child cope? We must take action, and that's what we are doing. As anybody that's feeling, they are doing too much, and I hear people talking about, why can't they forgive? Maybe they say they are pastor. If you don't ask for forgiveness, can there be anyone? So if you know you have committed a sin, if you know you have done wrong, and you want forgiveness, you ask for it. Even God, the creator of forgiveness, demands that you ask for forgiveness. Say, if we say we are not sinners, there is no truth in us. Say, but once we're able to confess and forsake that, he is just and faithful to forgive. So there's a condition of confession and forsaking before forgiveness. And say, forgive. Okay, but somebody is saying what he's doing is right. What he's doing is okay. And I say, okay, you cannot be spoiling my name. You cannot be, creating toxic story to damage my reputation and also to harm my family, and me taking action that is provided by law will mean that it's too much. What is too much to preserve my reputation? What is too much by taking the route of lawful means, going through the court system? What's too much to preserve the mental health of my child? What is too much? And say forgiveness that you didn't ask for. Even God doesn't forgive a sinner that does not ask for it. For those of you who want to be too godly than God, too holy than God, let's just get all this straight and let's wait. But for me, I will only conclude by saying, again, they are going to try. The Bible has said this, and it's a conclusive statement. Upon this rock, I built my church, and the gate of hell cannot prevail against it. In any form, in any ramification. Like I said, Dr. Olukoya has been facing series of attacks, series of serious attack right from the creation of MFM. I don't want to go into that. So it's just because we are in a social media age, and there has been those who were attacking many 35 years back, where are they today? What has become their end? So the same way the current one will end, oblivion, nobody will hear about you. Because you cannot fight what God has established. It's not possible. Upon this rock I build my church, and the gate of hell, in any form, in any human form, spirit form, media form, in any form, cannot prevail against it. That is an assurance. Thank you, everyone.